All positions polling in the affirmative. We are go for depress and go for EVA. This unplanned spacewalk mounted in just 48 hours since the identification of this ammonia leak on the P6 truss in the vicinity of where the pump and flow control subassembly is located on the port or far left truss of the International Space Station. This view, albeit pixelated, is coming from MPC, or Multi-Protocol System, or HD video, that is being downlinked by Chris Hadfield of the two spacewalkers as they set up shop in the vicinity of the work site.
Thank you, sir. Again, my Richmond sphere leak 5306 or 5305. All right.
Once again, Cassidy and Marshburn, now 34 minutes into their spacewalk, setting up shop at the work site of the P6 truss. They'll be looking into the guts of the truss's bay at the integrated electronics assembly, a veritable curly queue of wires and tubes and piping, in which any one of those items could be the culprit that has resulted in the springing of an ammonia leak that was first detected on Thursday. Cassidy using a pistol grip tool, a high-tech screwdriver, basically to unbolt the first of the quick disconnect connections, seeing nothing visible coming out of the pump and flow control system box.
19.27 turns. Actual torque is 9.0. Green light.
9.0 and 19.7.
The flight control team here believes that the first of the bolt quick disconnects has been demated and retracted. They're going to proceed on now for the demating and retraction of the quick disconnect, the fluid quick disconnect connections for the so-called H2 bolt that is holding the pump and flow control system box in place in the integrated electronics assembly of the International Space Station. The crew has reported on several occasions now that everything looks clean from their perspective, no ammonia flakes and nothing out of the ordinary.
Ammonia.
Copy all. Ready for the clockwise 2 and keep it at Alpha 7.
A night pass into a day pass sometimes can stimulate the expansion of the ammonia just because of thermal expansion and contraction characteristics, making sure that that doesn't stimulate any flow of ammonia in the vicinity of the spacewalkers, who have reported nothing out of the ordinary so far.
19 turns.
It's turning. Started out low running torque. Running torque's increasing a little bit. 4 turns for about 17. I can tell I'm very close to the electrical connectors coming out. I see the box rising, indicator moving. 10 turns. 11 turns. Running torque eased up. You think it feels like the electrical connectors are off. Box is still riding up. There's 18 turns. Running torque dropped off to nothing. Red light. The box is released. Indicator is unlocked.
Excellent news. We're going to take a poll down here, but Chris, we heard your words, and you can hold it. Tom can take pictures. The main thing is to get some good pictures, and especially even getting pictures down in the ditch there. Stand by for our go before you release. And we have a go.
Sure.
MCC is ready to go for you to pick up the failed FPCS, and let's see what we see.
I'm ready, Tom. Are you ready? I'm ready with the camera. Here we go. Hey, just visual inspection, Spanky. Not seeing ice on it.
Copy.
The well looks good.
No ice.
Yeah, no mechanisms have ice on them. Right. Taking pictures. right hand towards you a little bit. Back it away from you a little bit. Okay. Away from you? Yeah. Okay.
And guys, we are getting great WVS. We copy everything you've seen so far. Can you confirm that you haven't seen any flakes?
I have not. I have not either. Yeah, I want to are you squared away with the camera and everything? Yeah, I'm going to get myself pulled up here. Get away from the radiator. Thank you. Looks really, really clean. Surprisingly so. Yep. Only thing I can notice is a little bit of metallic debris on the H4 bolt shaft.
We see you taking pictures of it, and we can see the shaft that you're talking about. It's the one between the FQDC receptacles.
H4, I think, is what the number is.
Yep.
This is almost like arthroscopic surgery, as they use a mirror inside the crevice of the bay to take a look at the tubing and the other plumbing associated with the coolant, electronics and loops associated with the functionality of the pump and flow control subassembly.
Anything glaring? Let me get that other one over there, Chris. Yeah, I'll hold you. Oh, okay. I've got your hand on you, Sue. Keep you steady.
A multitude of photographs being shot by Chris Cassidy as he looks inside the windows, as they are called, in the integrated electronics assembly into the tubing and other plumbing down below where the pump and flow control subassembly box was removed, trying to ferret out any evidence whatsoever of an ammonia leak or any other off nominal or odd configuration.
3 feet deep.
Good news and hearty thanks from the team down here. What we're seeing is really helpful in diagnosing where the problem may be, or in this case, we know it's not here, or it looks very good. Thanks for all the photos. Thanks for the good WVS. I think we're done here for now. We're going to start setting up to get the spare PFCS. So that means out of the APFR for you right now, Chris, and then Tom. We got a few words for you in a second. How copy?
Copy all. 2 copies. I wasn't paying attention or listening well. How are you getting back down into that corner? I'm about to ask that again. Thank you. Tim's still on that camera with your last call.
Okay. After, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the last call is that you were going to follow your safety tether path back and then inboard, and then you will then go towards the spare PFCS, towards Chris at that point, and then you'll work the shroud from the opposite side where Chris is, and there's 3 Velcro flaps that you undo and then hand it over to Chris. Does that make sense?
Copy that.
Chris Cassidy, once again using a high-tech screwdriver, basically a pistol grip tool, as it is called, to unbolt a series of bolts, structural fasteners, if you will, holding a spare pump and flow control subassembly box in its slot on the P6 truss at the International Space Station. It will be inserted into the slot in which the old PFCS was removed a short time ago and parked temporarily on a bracket at the work site that Cassidy and Tom Marshburn are conducting their spacewalk at, now 2 hours and 20 minutes into the EVA, the 168th spacewalk in support of space station assembly and maintenance, and the 4th spacewalk for both Cassidy and Marshburn.
Bye. I got nice good grip on it, Tom. Local down, we got safety BRT down. Nice clean surface there.
And Tom, we see the flash working.
What did you look at?
And looks like you got some good photos. We're satisfied down here if you guys are, and we're ready to press on.
Yeah, the field of view is so tiny here that I'm just going to try to get it covered.
All right, guys, nice sharing a sunrise with you. Make sure your tethers are clear, and then we're good to put in the spare PFCS.
All right. Give the crew lock bag a vector away from... Yeah, your riser down? Yep.
You're going to put it on the soft dock. The H4 scoop is going to be recommended in your left hand, Chris, away from the PFR, and the top of the PFCS should be in a parallel plane to the nearby ORUs.
Up, Chris. Understand. Okay, you're good. Up and down. Okay. This half of soft dock, those ball detents on the H4. Doesn't feel like it. Doesn't look like it. It looks kind of bouncy. Kind of bouncy. Okay, it's there. Mike, ready for your words next.
Good news so far.
There's 9, about 18.
So another key moment here in today's spacewalk as the crew begins to engage in mate fluid quick disconnects
I felt some sort of
on the spare pump package that has been installed in the P6 truss of the Integrated Electronics Assembly of the International Space Station.
We're at about 10 turns.
Now we're hearing words that the crew is running over an hour ahead on the timeline. So we're in great shape in terms of the overall task list for today's spacewalk. The next step for Cassidy and Marshburn, the installation of the old pump and flow control subassembly box into a spare slot on the P6 truss of the International Space Station.
And Chris, we can see.
Control, Chris.
And was there anything particular you wanted us to look at? If you made the call, we missed it, but we saw we saw good underside video.
Yeah, that's all I was showing you. That it was pristine, clean, no signs of funny wear or anything like that.
And you guys are going to make sure that the safety tethers are out of the way, ingress aids out of the way, anything else that's in the way is out of the way. You're going to look for FOD on both sides real quick, and then install it to the soft dock, that is.
No 5 present. There's a little MOI on the other of the large plane.
The Thermal Systems Officer here in Mission Control reports that the spare pump and flow control subassembly box is now powered up and is being integrated into the electronics on the P6 truss of the International Space Station.
Yeah. Under would be good, because then you have handrails. And then I have handrails. But I got shroud in the way, that's only... Not really sure what guarantees I'm lined up. Black lines, I guess. Let's see. Oh, I really have to translate on their shroud, so I can get over there. So, I can guide you right into the electricals. Is it lined up? It's really close, yeah. Okay, then it won't go in any farther, so I think... Okay, I think you're there. watch the electricals coming.
3 hours, 2 minutes into the spacewalk. As you heard from Mike Fink, the new pump is up and running, and no leakage so far from its quantity of ammonia that is being used to recharge the coolant lines.
Okay, that would be the next step. I do have some cautions to read to you. Thanks for bearing with me.
Again, Cassidy is completing the engaging of a final structural bolt of the old pump.
Lean back.
The crew continues to run about an hour ahead of its timeline, operating with maximum efficiency in this spacewalk that was devised and is now being executed just 48 hours after the detection of an ammonia leak on the P6 truss.
Everything else is on an integral rest.
And for you EVA guys, we'd like a glove check while we're waiting.
EV1, absolutely phenomenal. Just some grease smudges. EV2, the same. Actually, they're a little cleaner than they were. So you could grease a hat on it, rubbed off.
This is Mission Control Houston. The International Space Station has now moved into an orbital sunrise over the Pacific Ocean, flying from southwest to northeast on a track that will carry it to the northwest of the Hawaiian island chain a short time from now. 4 hours, 3 minutes into the spacewalk. No evidence at all of any ammonia leakage from the newly installed spare pump flow control subassembly, the pump package that replaced what is suspected to have been a failed component that triggered the release of ammonia from the P6 truss on Thursday, and which prompted the special spacewalk that got underway at 7:44 a.m. Central Time.
And on your crew lock bags, Chris, we see one of the doors has the not fully closed, and we might want to put the lock on it just for the long ride back. Thanks.
Yeah, that's good feet direction right there. Okay. That's. I think my feet are clear of you. Yep, clear of me, clear of everything else. Nice work. Gotta make sure we're face each other. Here's the IEA. Staying away of yours. There we go. Yeah, just need a little tug. Here.
And this view from Tom Marshburn's helmet camera, a stunning view of Saskatchewan as they fly over Canada inside intravehicular crew member Chris Hadfield, the Expedition 35 commander from the Canadian Space Agency, the first Canadian to command the orbital laboratory. Hadfield and Marshburn will be returning home to a parachute-assisted landing in their Soyuz spacecraft along with Roman Romanenko on Monday night U.S. time, Tuesday morning Kazakhstan time, to wrap up 146 days in space and 144 days aboard the International Space Station. And what a finale for Tom Marshburn today, as he and Chris Cassidy collaborated to swap out a pump package for the P6 truss on the International Space Station.
Yep. And going from that viewing to the other is another adjustable. On my right swing arm, there's a PGT with a wobble socket and a RET. Also to that same location where the RET is, there's another RET that's going to the camera. Okay, picture's complete. Thanks, Tom.
So the so-called bakeout continues as the crew ensures that they have no residual ammonia whatsoever on their suits before re-entering the crew lock section of the Quest airlock. This spacewalk that began at 7:44 a.m. Central Time is drawing to a close.
Okay, the swivel cover's open. Thank you.
Copy, we see that. Yes, we do.
Copy. Starboard of the mobile transporter system. Lab zenith right now. I see you coming. Okay. Hey, Mike, on a day like today, it's really impressive to see what the NASA family, Mission Control Center, Johnson Space Center can accomplish in such short notice. We may not have found exactly the smoking gun, but to pull off what this team did yesterday and today and working practically 48 straight hours is a remarkable effort on everybody's behalf. It's the NASA family that did it, in particular with EVA training. We spend a lot of time at the NBL, and the NBL is much a part of success here in spacewalks as anything else. And the NBL family sadly lost a longtime member earlier this week, Mark Gibbs. And it's a tragic thing for all of us, and it puts things in perspective as we come out here and execute, and folks arm us with the material to execute. And it's those folks that are here in spirit with us. Mark Gibbs leaves behind a wife and a daughter, and our hearts go out to them. Nothing that I or we can say make it any better, but rest in peace, Mark Gibbs. You're with the NASA family forever.
And Chris, we'll get those words to Mark and his or Mark's family, and we definitely echo your sentiments. This was definitely a team effort, and NASA family is very special and important to us. Speaking for the families and the whole NASA family, we couldn't be more pleased and proud of the crew, of what you guys have accomplished today. Congratulations on a successful spacewalk, and like you said, we couldn't have got there without all the great guys and gals that helped train us, including Mark Gibbs. Good words.
The view that you just saw was from a monitor that is set up in the cupola of the International Space Station, a reference point for both Nyberg and Cassidy to use. The HTV, you can see a strobe light on the body of the vehicle. It, unlike other cargo ships, does not have deployable solar arrays. The solar panels are wrapped around the body of the HTV itself to provide electrical power for all of its systems. With its 28 reaction control system jets behaving normally, the HTV-4 approaches at a rate of just 1 inch per second, now inside 20 meters away. Outstanding views of the orbital choreography being performed as the International Space Station and HTV-4 are just 10 meters apart. The two craft currently flying 260 miles over the South Atlantic. We've updated the capture clock to reflect a predicted grapple time of about 6:26 a.m. Central Time, just a few minutes ahead of the predicted grapple time. Nothing magic about that time, with as long as the lighting remains good for the crew on board the International Space Station.
Houston Station, we're starting the approach.
Copy.
The robotics officer here in Mission Control reports the arm in motion. The International Space Station now in free drift. 1 meter away from capture. Latching end effector over the pin. Capture confirmed at 6:22 a.m. Central Time. Grapple confirmed. The International Space Station and HTV-4 flying 260 miles south of South Africa.